故事猫与队友的巴黎大迷路。
Story Cat and Friends Big Lost in Paris. One morning, Story Cat pulled out a world map, pointed to France, and said, "This time we're going to the city of romance, Paris." The whole team erupted in cheers.
某天早上，故事猫拿出一张世界地图，指着法国说：“这次我们要去浪漫之都巴黎。”全队立刻欢声雷动。
One morning, Story Cat pulled out a world map, pointed to France, and said, "This time we're going to the city of romance, Paris." The whole team erupted in cheers. Steamed Bun Dog immediately searched what's good to eat in France. Dumpling Sheep started learning French. Zongzi Cow was already packing snacks. And Milk Turtle said he needed at least 3 days to prepare his luggage.
馒头狗马上去查法国有什么好吃的。水饺羊开始学法语。粽子牛已经在打包零食。牛奶龟则说他需要至少3天来准备行李。
Steamed Bun Dog immediately searched what's good to eat in France. Dumpling Sheep started learning French. Zongzi Cow was already packing snacks. And Milk Turtle said he needed at least 3 days to prepare his luggage. Story Cat brought the team to Paris, France. The moment they left the airport, everyone gasped at the magnificent sight of the Eiffel Tower.
故事猫带着队伍抵达法国巴黎，一出机场，埃菲尔铁塔的壮观景色让大家惊呼连连。
Story Cat brought the team to Paris, France. The moment they left the airport, everyone gasped at the magnificent sight of the Eiffel Tower. Steamed Bun Dog looked at the Eiffel Tower and said, "What flavor is this giant iron lollipop?" Then actually stuck out his tongue to lick it.
馒头狗看着埃菲尔铁塔说：“这根超大的铁棒棒糖是什么口味的？”然后真的伸出舌头准备舔。
Steamed Bun Dog looked at the Eiffel Tower and said, "What flavor is this giant iron lollipop?" Then actually stuck out his tongue to lick it. Dumpling Sheep pulled out a thick French travel book and confidently said bonjour to a passerby in a strange accent. But it came out as bon appetit.
水饺羊拿出一本厚厚的法语旅游书，自信地用奇怪的口音对路人说
Bonjour.
结果说成了
Bon appetit. Dumpling Sheep pulled out a thick French travel book and confidently said bonjour to a passerby in a strange accent. But it came out as bon appetit. Zongzi Cow spotted a French bakery on the street and charged straight in, disappearing into the crowd.
粽子牛一眼看到路边的法式面包店，整个人冲了进去，消失在人群中。
Zongzi Cow spotted a French bakery on the street and charged straight in, disappearing into the crowd. Story Cat turned around to find only Milk Turtle remaining. He sighed and said, "Here we go again."
故事猫回头一看，队伍只剩下牛奶龟，他叹了口气说：“又开始了。”
Story Cat turned around to find only Milk Turtle remaining. He sighed and said, "Here we go again." Story Cat decided to find Zongzi Cow first, leaving Milk Turtle in place with strict instructions. "Don't move," Milk Turtle nodded. He had no intention of moving anyway.
故事猫决定先去找粽子牛，把牛奶龟留在原地，叮咛他不要动。牛奶龟点点头，因为他本来就不打算动。
Story Cat decided to find Zongzi Cow first, leaving Milk Turtle in place with strict instructions. "Don't move," Milk Turtle nodded. He had no intention of moving anyway. Inside the bakery, Zongzi Cow was hugging a giant baguette while the shopkeeper gestured at him in French. He understood nothing but kept nodding and smiling.
面包店里，粽子牛正抱着一根巨大的法棍面包，店员用法语对他比手画脚，他完全听不懂，只是一直点头微笑。
Inside the bakery, Zongzi Cow was hugging a giant baguette while the shopkeeper gestured at him in French. He understood nothing but kept nodding and smiling. Story Cat found Zongzi Cow and dragged him out of the bakery, but Zongzi Cow clung to the baguette with all his might.
故事猫找到粽子牛，拉着他离开面包店。粽子牛死命抱着法棍不肯放手。
Story Cat found Zongzi Cow and dragged him out of the bakery, but Zongzi Cow clung to the baguette with all his might. Meanwhile, Steamed Bun Dog had followed a group of tourists onto a sightseeing bus, completely unaware of where he was headed.
与此同时，馒头狗已经跟着一群观光客上了游览车，完全不知道自己去了哪里。
Meanwhile, Steamed Bun Dog had followed a group of tourists onto a sightseeing bus, completely unaware of where he was headed. The bus took Steamed Bun Dog past the Louvre, the Arc de Triomphe, and the Seine River. He spent the whole time photoshopping his face into famous paintings.
游览车带着馒头狗经过罗浮宫、凯旋门、塞纳河，他一路上只顾着拍照，把自己的脸
P majuscule.
进每一幅名画里。
The bus took Steamed Bun Dog past the Louvre, the Arc de Triomphe, and the Seine River. He spent the whole time photoshopping his face into famous paintings. After getting lost, Dumpling Sheep tried navigating with his travel book but got more confused and accidentally wandered into a Fashion Week runway backstage.
水饺羊在街上迷路后，决定用旅游书找路，结果越看越糊涂，走进了一条时装周的伸展台通道。
After getting lost, Dumpling Sheep tried navigating with his travel book but got more confused and accidentally wandered into a Fashion Week runway backstage. The staff mistook Dumpling Sheep for a specially invited wool fashion model, dressed him up, and pushed him straight onto the runway.
工作人员误以为水饺羊是特别邀请的羊毛时装模特，帮他打扮后直接推上伸展台。
The staff mistook Dumpling Sheep for a specially invited wool fashion model, dressed him up, and pushed him straight onto the runway. Dumpling Sheep panicked on the runway, but his disheveled wool look accidentally drew a standing ovation. The fashion designer wept and cried, "A genius!"
水饺羊在伸展台上惊慌失措，但他凌乱的羊毛造型意外引起全场掌声。时装设计师感动落泪说：“天才！”
Dumpling Sheep panicked on the runway, but his disheveled wool look accidentally drew a standing ovation. The fashion designer wept and cried, "A genius!" Story Cat and Zomzi Cow frantically searched the streets for Steamed Bun Dog and Dumpling Sheep. Zomzi Cow munched on the baguette the whole time, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs.
故事猫带着粽子牛在街上拼命找馒头狗和水饺羊，粽子牛边走边啃法棍，留下一路面包屑。
Story Cat and Zomzi Cow frantically searched the streets for Steamed Bun Dog and Dumpling Sheep. Zomzi Cow munched on the baguette the whole time, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs. A flock of pigeons discovered the breadcrumbs and began following Zomzi Cow. The flock grew larger and larger until the entire street was filled with pigeons.
一群鸽子发现面包屑，开始跟着粽子牛，越聚越多，最后整条街都是鸽子。
A flock of pigeons discovered the breadcrumbs and began following Zomzi Cow. The flock grew larger and larger until the entire street was filled with pigeons. Zomzi Cow screamed in terror and ran with the remaining baguette. Story Cat chased behind, and the three of them plus a flock of pigeons staged a wild chase through the streets of Paris.
粽子牛吓得大叫，抱着剩下的法棍拼命跑。故事猫在后面追，三个人加上一群鸽子在巴黎街头上演了一场大追逐。
Zomzi Cow screamed in terror and ran with the remaining baguette. Story Cat chased behind, and the three of them plus a flock of pigeons staged a wild chase through the streets of Paris. The sightseeing bus finally stopped at the Eiffel Tower. Steamed Bun Dog got off with the tourists, recognized the tower, and shouted, "I'm back, giant lollipop."
游览车最后停在埃菲尔铁塔前，馒头狗跟着观光客下车，终于认出了铁塔，大喊：“我回来了，大棒棒糖！”
The sightseeing bus finally stopped at the Eiffel Tower. Steamed Bun Dog got off with the tourists, recognized the tower, and shouted, "I'm back, giant lollipop." After escaping the runway, Dumpling Sheep found a fashion designer's business card and a modeling contract in his pocket. He had absolutely no idea what had just happened.
水饺羊逃离伸展台后，口袋里多了一张时装设计师的名片和一份模特合约。他完全不知道发生了什么事。
After escaping the runway, Dumpling Sheep found a fashion designer's business card and a modeling contract in his pocket. He had absolutely no idea what had just happened. Story Cat arrived at the Eiffel Tower Plaza trailing a flock of pigeons and finally reunited with steamed bun dog and dumpling sheep. The four of them hugged tightly.
故事猫带着一群鸽子冲到埃菲尔铁塔广场，终于和馒头狗、水饺羊重逢。4个人紧紧抱在一起。
Story Cat arrived at the Eiffel Tower Plaza trailing a flock of pigeons and finally reunited with steamed bun dog and dumpling sheep. The four of them hugged tightly. That's when Story Cat suddenly remembered Milk Turtle, who had been left in place for a full 2 hours. He rushed back immediately.
这时，故事猫突然想起牛奶龟，它已经被留在原地整整2个小时了。连忙跑回去。
That's when Story Cat suddenly remembered Milk Turtle, who had been left in place for a full 2 hours. He rushed back immediately. Milk Turtle was still standing exactly where he had been left, now surrounded by curious tourists who thought he was a street art installation and were taking photos with him.
牛奶龟还站在原来的地方，周围已经围满了好奇的观光客，有人以为它是街头艺术装置。纷纷和他合照。
Milk Turtle was still standing exactly where he had been left, now surrounded by curious tourists who thought he was a street art installation and were taking photos with him. Milk Turtle calmly said, "I've already taken photos with people from 23 countries, and some of them even gave me tips."
牛奶龟平静地说：“我已经和来自23个国家的人合照了。”还有人给了我小费。
Milk Turtle calmly said, "I've already taken photos with people from 23 countries, and some of them even gave me tips." By evening, the team was finally all together, sitting along the Seine River, gazing at the Eiffel Tower glittering in the sunset.
傍晚，队伍终于聚在一起，坐在塞纳河边，望着夕阳下闪闪发光的埃菲尔铁塔。
By evening, the team was finally all together, sitting along the Seine River, gazing at the Eiffel Tower glittering in the sunset. Story Cat suggested trying French desserts. Dumpling Sheep stood speechless in front of a macaron shop because the pastel-colored treats looked exactly like his wool. He said emotionally, "Were these made from my fur?"
故事猫提议去品尝法国甜点。水饺羊在马卡龙店前看得目瞪口呆，因为那些粉嫩的小圆饼实在太像它的羊毛颜色了。他感动地说：“这是用我的毛做的吗？”
Story Cat suggested trying French desserts. Dumpling Sheep stood speechless in front of a macaron shop because the pastel-colored treats looked exactly like his wool. He said emotionally, "Were these made from my fur?" Steamed Bun Dog curiously ordered a plate of escargot. When it arrived, he stared wide-eyed and said, "Is this snail even slower than Milk Turtle?" Then swallowed it whole, while Milk Turtle quietly lowered his head beside him.
满狗狗好奇地点了一盘焗烤关牛，服务生端上来后，他瞪大眼睛说：“这个关牛比牛奶龟跑得还慢吗？”然后一口吞掉。牛奶龟在旁边默默低下了头。
Steamed Bun Dog curiously ordered a plate of escargot. When it arrived, he stared wide-eyed and said, "Is this snail even slower than Milk Turtle?" Then swallowed it whole, while Milk Turtle quietly lowered his head beside him. Zonzi Cow spotted a Napoleon pastry in the dessert shop and excitedly shouted. Napoleon then gave the cake a solemn military salute, leaving all the other customers utterly confused.
粽子牛在甜点店看到拿破仑派，兴奋地大喊：“拿破仑！”然后对着蛋糕敬了一个军礼。其他客人看得一头雾水。
Zonzi Cow spotted a Napoleon pastry in the dessert shop and excitedly shouted. Napoleon then gave the cake a solemn military salute, leaving all the other customers utterly confused. Zonzi Cow said emotionally, "Paris truly is a beautiful city." Then pulled out a hidden piece of baguette from his pocket and kept munching.
粽子牛感性地说：“巴黎真是美丽的城市。”然后从口袋里又掏出一小段藏起来的法棍继续啃。
Zonzi Cow said emotionally, "Paris truly is a beautiful city." Then pulled out a hidden piece of baguette from his pocket and kept munching. Story Cat gazed at the sunset, took a deep breath, and said, "Next trip, everyone is wearing a name tag, so nobody gets lost again."
故事猫望着夕阳，深吸一口气说：“下次旅行，每个人都要系上名牌， 才不会迷路。
Story Cat gazed at the sunset, took a deep breath, and said, "Next trip, everyone is wearing a name tag, so nobody gets lost again."
左岸的风吹过塞纳河边 The wind on the left bank blows by the same 我们的背包装满面包屑 Our backpacks are filled with breadcrumbs 酱菜烤的法棍喂饱了整条街酱菜烤 spaghetti fed the whole street Milk turtle became art Nobody noticed 谁也没发现 Oh 故事猫小队在巴黎的屋顶 Oh story cat team on the roofs of 寻找那最狗的大棒棒糖身影 Searching for the tallest big lollipop 笑声和鸽子占领了香榭大楼 Laughter and pigeons conquer the Champs-Élysées 原来我们的心永远 ready 和平太来早就紧紧拥抱下次旅行记得系上名牌 Next trip remember to wear a name tag 巴黎的夕阳永远这么晒 Turns out our hearts were always this bright